Never do this at a maid cafe in Japan. As a Japanese citizen who grew up in the streets of Osaka, I've seen some things that will make you go, "Uso desho." But if you were thinking of buying a ticket to Nippon and going to a maid cafe, there's important do's and don'ts. So here are 5 things you should never do at a maid cafe in Japan to avoid looking like a sassy baka. Number 1, never ask for a maid's phone number. Now the first thing you notice when you walk into a maid cafe is that girls will be obviously dressed up as a French maid and say, "Okaeri nasaimasu, goshujin-sama." And you might feel happy. Maybe she likes me. No, she does not. She doesn't want your number. Don't ask for it. Don't say, "Denwa bango wa nan desu ka?" Don't say that. But if you do ask, they'll most likely make up a fictional story saying they're from a small village in France and give you a fictional number. Number 2, never take pictures of maids without their permission. So in a lot of the maid cafes, you can take a picture with a maid, but it comes with a price. I've heard all the way from $5 to $20 per picture with a maid. So if you think it's worth the price, you could get it. But typically you're allowed to take pictures of the food for free. That's free. You could take out your iPhone anytime you want. And you might be like, why, Matsu, would I want to take pictures of food in a maid cafe? Why would I do that? Well, at a maid cafe, food can be a little special, a little bit more of an experience. One of the more popular food is omuraisu, and tends to be a little kawaii. One of the maids, before it's served, will use a ketchup and they might make a little cat, little neko-chan, maybe even a bunny, a little usagi-san. If you're lucky, maybe even your name, whatever your name is, Jason-san, whatever your name is. So taking a picture of these food is fine, but maid, and I've heard the food doesn't taste that good, but it's more the experience. Like compared to like just walking down to a ramen down the street, it might not taste as good, but the experience is near alternative. It could be better. So if you want those kawaii moments in the picture, you have to pay the price, or you could take one with your food. Number 3, avoid being too nervous and not enjoying the time there. Now I get it, if you close your eyes, imagine yourself walking down the streets of Akihabara and you see a girl dressed as a maid, is telling them to go to the maid cafe and you're like, oh my god, where am I? What the heck is going on? Is this Genshin Impact? You can get nervous, you could be like, what the nani is going on? But you decide to go to the cafe anyways. You walk in, one of the maids says, "Okaeri nasaimasu, goshujin-sama." So "Okaeri nasaimasu" is technically from "okaeri," which means like welcome home. I'm glad that you're home. So I guess you're home when you enter the cafe. And then "goshujin-sama," goshujin is like master, and sama, like Matsu-sama, is reserved for those you respect. So like, welcome home, Master-sama. So not a bad way to be greeted. If you're a girl, they'll say, "Okaeri nasaimasu, ojo-sama." I guess a welcome home, young lady-sama? Maybe princess? Young lady reminds me of the Sailor Moon episode where the guy goes,
"Young lady, I am what? Oh, I see. You cannot speak English, ne? Ojo-san."
Young lady, you don't speak the English. Anyways, I digress. Anyways, the more important thing you have to know about Japanese maid cafe is the more you let loose and participate, the better your experience is gonna be. Don't be like, oh, this is not my culture. Don't do that. You're gonna ruin the whole vibe. It's all about keeping up with the kuki. So before you go sit down at a famous cafe called Home Cafe, they'll give you a certificate of majestyhood. So it's like a little card that says, you are the majesty. Is this card worth anything if you leave at the Home Cafe? No. But the time you're there, you're goshujin-sama or you're ojo-sama. Nothing's gonna take away from that. And when you order anything from the menu, and menu do be pretty cute, there will be a little magical phrase that will go along to make your food or your drink a little bit more tastier, you need a little magical phrase. One of the more popular phrase is like oishiku nare, which means oishi. Oishiku comes from oishi, which means to be delicious, and oishiku is deliciously to become, and nare is like truly to become. So become delicious. How kawaii is that? That's pretty kawaii, I would say that's pretty, yeah. Another popular one is moe moe kyun. This one I would have to say, it's pretty up there in the otaku culture. I don't hear anyone say that. Oishiku nare, maybe some moms say it too, when they're feeding their young ones. Moe moe kyun, I've only seen it in otaku scenes. So moe is like kind of like this feeling of something being so cute, you just want to squish it, and that expected at the same time. Then kyun is like an onomatopoeia for something that's cute. Like, oh, it's cute, kyun. So I guess more of a sound. So say it with me so you can participate if this ever happens. Moe kyun. Oh yeah, that's the last time. I'm not saying that if I could. I hope you said it. I hope you said it correctly. If you didn't say it, you rewind and watch it and say it. Anyways, participate. Don't be shy. A lot of people actually go in groups, you know, a little bit of lunch break they might even go. And actually, some couples go. A decent amount of couples go with their boyfriend and girlfriends, you know. And it's not that big a deal. So you could go with other people, even with your girlfriend or boyfriend. But you know, when someone's not participating in the group, you know, I've seen it. It's usually like, what are you doing here? You know, why did you come? You know, you're kind of ruining the vibe. You don't want to be that guy. But if you really want to be able to participate, if you go to Japan, check out my Skillshare on basic grammar in Japanese, which will teach you how to introduce yourself and formulate your own sentences from scratch. Make sure to like the video so far. If you liked, follow me on TikTok if you want to see me and other social media. Number 4, this one is important. Never ever touch the maid. You will see a warning sign that says, do not touch the maid. That is not okay. Don't touch the maid outfit, even the clothes, even the flair, none of that. Japanese people in general don't like to be touched, and especially in maid cafes. If you do touch, they'll ask you to leave immediately. I know some of the worst animes that incorporated maid cafe is Kaicho is Maid Sama, so maybe that one has a decent understanding. So if you're ever curious what it's like in an anime setting, that one's the pretty popular one with Usui Tengen. No, not Usui Tengen. Usui, the blonde guy, you know, unattainable male step. So if you're curious about an anime that you could watch before Maid Cafe, that anime is a recommendation of mine. I've watched it. I'm gonna be honest. I watched it and I liked it. It was pretty funny. Number 5, avoid not going to a maid cafe, especially if you go to Akihabara, Japan. So Akihabara is one of the cities in Tokyo. So if you go to Tokyo, you could easily go to Akihabara, and it's known as the home of the otaku. It has major anime scene going on, as manga, and it is the origin and the birthplace of the first ever maid cafe. The OG of the first maid cafe is known as the Cure Maid Cafe. Kyowa Maid Cafe. And honestly, you could tell that it's the OG because of the atmosphere and what they dress. Because the maid outfit is literally like the French maid outfit that was probably what they were wearing 500 years ago. Like it's more like a realistic imagination or realistic picture of the French maid outfit. Like it's long, has a little thing on top, and it's an apron. You get what I'm points. You get what I'm saying. And the whole setting feels a little bit more like you literally went back in time 500 years ago to Europe, because the chairs are like wooden, aesthetically pleasing, and the food is I don't know about the food actually, but the setting even matches with the time. So it's a little bit more like what it was like during those times. So from the origin, you know, it actually wasn't too much about kawaii. I think it was more like somebody wanted to see what it would have been like 500 years ago if they went to a cafe with maids in it. So I guess it's already not necessarily historical. But then the cafe I just mentioned, At the Home Cafe, just popped out of nowhere. I think 2004. At the Home Cafe came in, just blew the whole scene. That just changed the whole maid cafe, just the whole world. Like, yes, it's still French maid outfit influenced, but if you see just one picture, you could tell it's a clear difference. There's a clear kawaii influenced. Something happened between the Cure Maid Cafe and then Home Cafe, At the Home Cafe. Now it's a little bit more like a cosplay, a little bit more like we could change a little few things from the historical depiction of what a French maid looked like. Like officially, there's no way, no one could even argue that 500 years ago a maid in France wore that anymore. Maybe the Cure Maid Cafe, you could make that argument, but At Home Cafe at this point, you can't make that argument. But it's still super cute, super kawaii. Just look inside of it, you know, even the entrance, you walk in, it's like a little dream of what a cafe, a modern cute cafe would look like. They might even have little performance, like a little bit like idol, like Japanese idol-like performance. They might sing a song. They might do a little light dance. I can't promise it's gonna be as good as K-pop, but J-pop idol have their own swag. So it's gonna be a nice time. The food is also abundant. Make sure you get a cute drink. You know, they would make it for you. They'll shake it for you. The entree, omuraisu, with your little ketchup name on it. And the parfait, a dessert little parfait on the go. Everything is set up to be cute, and it's an experience. Make sure you go to a Maid cafe. Don't be shy. Participate and have a nice time. It's not as uso desho as you might think. It might be a little bit like majide, but you know, it's still worth your time. Subscribe to join the Nakama. More videos are on the way, and peace.